so happy to see you here in this class where we're going to really work on the power of our hips. It's a fun flow, and we're also going to incorporate something called neural flossing. If that's new to you, it's just a matter of kind of targeting, instead of our muscles or other soft tissues, we're targeting our nerves and just allowing them to glide in between all of the muscles that they live in. And this allows for greater mobility. It helps improve the connection between the muscles that those nerves innervate and our brain, so that the brain and the muscles can communicate better. So we'll get started in a child's position. So just get comfortable sitting back on your heels and allow your chest to fold down over your thighs. Place your head down on the mat. Your arms can be out in front of you or down by your side, whatever feels most comfortable. But just find a position that feels where you can settle in to your body, settle in to this moment. Bring your awareness to your breath for a moment. And perhaps just take a moment to remind yourself of why you're here. What do you want to get out of this practice? Knowing that it can change from day to day. There's no wrong answer. The fact that you've shown up is simply enough. So when you're ready, take one more big inhale and rise up onto all fours, bringing your knees under your hips and your hands under your shoulders. Give me a little squeeze of your glutes right here in your tabletop position, and with that squeeze, begin to press your hips towards your wrists, pulling yourself into kind of like in between an upward facing dog and I don't know what this is, but just bring your hips back now. Sink back towards that child's pose. Do that a few times, going with your breath, maybe inhaling as you press your hips forward. Keep those glutes nice and active, and exhaling as you press back to your child's pose. Your toes can be tucked under or feet flat, whatever feels comfortable for you. This third time, I want you to pull your heels, though, with your hips. Really getting those hamstrings working as well as the glutes. As you pull your heels as close towards your hips as you can, then press it back towards your child's pose. We're going to add on to this, maybe getting a little bit of a spinal roll going as you move from your child's pose to this sort of king cobra position, squeezing your heels towards your butt, squeezing your glutes. Let's roll it back to child's pose one more time and roll it back forward into this king cobra position. Maybe even point your toes this time if that works. Now what we're going to do here is take the feet over to the left side. So just kind of getting a little bit of a twist going through your hips. Pick the right knee up and bring it back towards the left foot, okay? And then just bring it back where you started, back to your cobra position, and we'll repeat on the other side. So swivel your feet over towards the left, pick your left foot up, knee to the right foot-ish, just kind of getting this movement going. We're going to go back and forth a few times, so I want you to just kind of make it fluid, flow with your breath. Just picking up one leg and bringing it all the way back behind you as much as you can. Keeping those glutes active and keeping your heels pulling towards your butt. Now, as you go to the right, pick up your right hand and let your hips sink down. So you kind of end up in like a funky leg shape. Maybe pick both hands up, and you can even twist around all the way to the right. We're going to twist around to the left, come back the way you came, feet over to the right side of you. Take that left knee all the way around, twist it around to the left, and back to the right. Let's do that one more time each side. So just kind of moving around on our mat in a nice way, but keep everything a little bit active. Keep a little bit of activation through the legs, pulling your heels towards your butt the whole time as you go, breathing smoothly and steadily through your nose. Press it back to child's pose. With the toes tucked under, press your hands firmly into the mat and begin to lift your knees up as you go into a gentle bent-kneed downward facing dog. You can pedal the feet around, just kind of working into those legs a little bit. Keep a smooth, steady breath. Now, we're going to do a similar movement to what we've been doing. We're just going to kind of add on to it a little bit and take it from a knees up position. So rock your shoulders forward and come into a plank position. Bend your right knee to pull your right heel towards your butt and go over onto the outside of your left foot. Pick up your right hand until once your right foot touches down, bend the left knee and can you lower your butt all the way down to the mat and bring it back up. 2 more times, just lower the butt, bring it back up, and lower back down. Lift it back up. Good job. Roll back through to your plank, and we'll repeat on the other side. So pull your left heel towards your butt, keeping the knees together. Roll onto the outside of the right foot. Pick up the left hand. Let the left foot touch down, and when that does, bend into the right knee. Straighten back up. 2 more. Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. Good. Roll back to your plank. We're going to go back over to the left. So bend the right knee, pick up the right hand, let the right foot touch down. Now bend into the left knee all the way until the hips touch. And can you then just bring your weight into that left hip? Shimmy yourself around so that you feel comfortable-ish here, but it is a funky position, and that's the thing with neural flossing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get into the obturator nerve, and this means getting into a funky position. So our right leg is hopefully in an abducted position where it's pulled away from our hip. And what we want to do now is try and get like a tuck of the tailbone. So we're trying to, as if we're trying to get that front of the right hip to go as far forward as we can. So we're really getting a stretch now through the front of the right hip, okay? Now that may alone be enough for you, and you can have your torso propped up on your hands behind you if that helps, but really squeezing that right glute, opening up through the front of the hip. Now if you feel like, I could do with a little bit more of a stretch, what I want you to do is maybe take a hand to help you guide gently your chin towards your chest, and I want you to just kind of start slouching, like rolling, as if you're trying to get the top of your head to your hips. Okay, and we can just kind of move into that and out, in and out, just gently getting that stretch there as much as possible. And what we're looking for, I just said as much as possible, but actually when we're flossing nerves, we're looking for about 20 to 30%, okay? So it doesn't have to be a huge amount of sensation. You don't want to overstretch your nerves, just kind of getting a little bit of a feel going. All right, so come back up. Bring your hand back behind you. We're just going to come back the way we came. So can you press into your feet to lift your hips up? Roll back through your plank. Bend the left knee. Roll over. As soon as that left foot touches, bend into the right knee till the hips come down. And shimmy yourself to a position with the left foot, top of the left foot flat. And what we're going to look for is trying to get the tailbone tucked under, getting into hip extension through that left leg. So really just trying to look for a stretch feeling through the front of the left thigh with one hand behind you, propping yourself up. If you feel like you need more, that left glute is super active. Kind of get slouchy through your posture, kind of like the opposite of what you're taught is good posture, like you're just rolling through your spine, but keep that opening of the front of the hip. And if you get into a position where you feel a sensation, you can just move out of it and back in, move out and back in, just gently, kind of like pulsing it, but not super fast, about a second apart. Lovely. So we're looking for about between 5 and 10 little pulses like that. And once you've done that, bring your hand back behind you so you can lift the hips up, roll back through to your plank, press your hips back and up into your downward facing dog. We're gonna move into a nerve along the back of the leg. You may have heard of it, it's the sciatic nerve, but we're gonna be working on the tibial branch of the sciatic nerve. So start with the right leg, and I like doing it, this isn't maybe the best way to floss the tibial branch of the sciatic nerve, but I like doing it here because it means you can kind of get it done while you're in your downward facing dog. I like multitasking. So what we're gonna do to get into that nerve is you wanna try and lift the outside of your right foot up off of the floor and press the inside of the foot out. So we're getting what's called eversion of the foot. You can have your left knee bent to support you if you need to. And what you really need to focus on now is getting your sit bones to go as high up towards the ceiling as possible. So you get this nice stretch. Remember, we're looking for 20 to 30% along the back of the thigh, and you may feel it all the way down the back of your legs. Now, if you want more, you can tuck your chin into your chest, so this further elongates the whole path of the nerve as it goes all the way from your ankle to your brain. So by tucking the chin into the chest, you can even play around maybe with a little bit of movement of the neck, twist it or take it over to one side or the other to get a little bit more. And just like we did before, you can kind of ease off and go back into that. And I like doing it through my knee. So just kind of ease off and go back into that stretch. And this is kind of what promotes that flossing. It's kind of like flossing your teeth. You're kind of moving the nerve around a little bit in between all of the muscle fibers. Good. So we'll maybe shake that out. You can come down onto your knees, just shake out the legs a little bit, whatever feels good. And we'll move back into our downward facing dog now to get into the same nerve of the left foot. So remember, we want to evert the foot. That means try to get, and with the heel down as much as possible as well, so that the ankle is in dorsiflexion, but also eversion by picking up the outside of the left foot. The knee is straight, and then where you start to move really into the stretch is by lifting the sits bone up towards the ceiling. If you want more, bring your neck into it, bringing the chin to the chest. Maybe the head goes over to the side or something as well, and then pulsing at any joint. You can pulse at any joint, but I like doing the knee here. It's the easiest. Remember, 5 to 10, just about a second apart. Breathing as you go. Good job. And same as before, just bring the knees down and give it a little shake out. And hopefully your hips are already feeling good and juicy. From that, we're gonna move into the flow. So tuck the toes under, lift back up into a downward facing dog, and just slowly walk your feet up to the front of the mat with the knees bent as you roll yourself all the way up to stand. Bring your hands to your hips and maybe just, shake it out a little bit. Give yourself a moment to become aware of how your hips feel, both in terms of how they feel for you, but also what they feel like in your hands as you hold on to them. And I want you to just give me a few tilts of the pelvis forward and back. So this is called posterior and anterior tilting, okay? And just notice how much you can isolate that movement. So just be aware if you're doing it all in your upper back. Remember, we're focusing on the hips here, so the pelvis, okay? And maybe go side to side. And then finally, can you circle around? And just be aware of, it's normal, it's fine. If your knees are gonna get involved, circle around in the other direction. If your upper spine is gonna get involved, you may see that happening with me. But as much as possible, you wanna keep that movement isolated to your hips. We just wanna be aware of how our hips are moving, okay? We're gonna bring that into some other movements later on, and can be really challenging, but it's a super high payoff if we can get that moving, because there's a lot going on here in the body, and that means it sends a lot of signals to the brain, and if the brain is on board with our movements, then everything becomes so much easier. All right, nice and traditional movements now. Reach your arms up high, look up, lift up nice and tall. As you exhale, just folds down through the hips. You can have your knees bent if that feels more comfortable. Just come into a standing forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine nice and long. As you exhale, bring your hands down to the mat, bend the knees as much as you need to. You can step or jump back to your plank position. And we're gonna repeat what we did at the beginning. So bend your right knee, roll over onto the outside of the left foot. As soon as your right toe touches down, bend into the left knee, all the way till your hips are on the floor. Bring yourself up to sit on those hips, twist it around to the right. Give me a tuck of the tailbone, just a real quick little obturator nerve floss there. Twist around to the left, bring both hands down, and repeat on the other side. So with the left foot, as soon as that toe touches, bend into the knee, sit the hips down, bring your torso up, twist around to the left, quick little obturator nerve floss, just like we already did. Twist around to the right, bring yourself back into your plank. Squeeze those glutes, press your hips towards your wrists, a little top of the toes, upward facing dog, open the chest up, take an inhale, press it back, downward facing dog. Step your right foot towards the center so you can lift the left leg up. And here in our three-legged down dog, can you remember those hip circles that you did? I told you we're gonna add them to different things, so really challenging perhaps, but can you just do a few little hip circles in each direction here in your three-legged dog? Maybe you wanna just do one and take it really, really slowly and listen and just pay attention. And the reason that this is difficult is because we don't normally do it, but this means that we're sending a lot of new activation to the brain, and that is only a good thing. All right, come back to a static position. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, bring the left knee towards your chest, rock your shoulders over your wrists, and lower that left foot down. Press into your feet to rise up into a nice traditional lunging posture. Bring your hands to your hips though, and once again, can you just do a few little hip circles here? And this can be a really high payoff, doing hip circles in various postures, because maybe we're used to having our hips in just one or two positions in our lunge, and as soon as we move somewhere that we're not used to, it sends a new signal to the brain like, hey, this is a thing. And the more the brain is comfortable with different things because it's been there before and it can predict it, the safer it's going to feel as you move into all sorts of different postures. It's all about the brain. All right, come back to a static position with the left toes pointing forwards. Can you just bend into that knee, letting the knee go over the toes, and don't worry if somebody's told you you shouldn't do this, it's perfectly safe. Just keep that right glute super active. And just straighten the left knee again, pick up the toes and turn the toes over towards the left. And let your knee follow you. We're bending into the left knee again, but let the knee follow the toes, so going out to the side. Keep those glutes nice and active. Just noticing how this changes the stretch. And then we're going to go in the other direction. So point the toes over to the right and let your knee go over to the right. Try and keep your hips as neutral as possible, though, so that we're just playing around with the different sensations in our hips in these different lunges. Good. Bring your toes back to forward. Once again, bring your knee as far forward as you can. Let the right knee come down, and then just bring your hips back over that right knee. And we're going to work now into a little bit of the femoral nerve. And the way that we do that from this position is, again, just tuck the tailbone under. So we're getting extension through the hips as much as possible. And that may be enough for you. You may be like, I am at 30%, Adell. But if you want more, like we did before, just get sort of slouchy through your posture. Chin to the chest, maybe rounding a little bit through the upper back. And you can kind of move into that and out of it. You could do it through the upper back, kind of unrolling and re-rolling like you're a yoga mat, rolling up and unrolling. Or you can do it at any other joint, like in your hips or something. All right, roll back up to your kneeling position, but keep the right glute super active. Tailbone's still tucking under, getting that hip extension. But now we're just gonna work a little bit towards a kind of back bend, just bringing the torso back and up again, really feeling it in the abs, hopefully. A little bit of an abs workout thrown in there. So maybe just go back as far as you feel like you've got the strength to pull yourself back up. That right glute stays super active. All right, now shake it out if you need to, if you're feeling it, because the next thing is maybe the hardest thing that we'll do. So we're gonna bend into that left knee. It's definitely the hardest thing we're gonna do. Let the left toes come up. Shift your weight into those left toes. With the right knee down, can you pull your right heel towards your butt? I didn't say this was gonna be easy. You can have your hands down to support you as well, all right? But now, can you pick up that right knee? Ooh, as soon as we pick it up, just swing it all the way around to the front. Lower the left heel down. It gets easier the more you practice it, so don't worry if you didn't get it the first time. Bring your right hand back behind you. Now you can lower the hips down if you're like, I need a break, okay? And do this next movement with your hips down, or you can keep your hips up with me. Stretch your right toes and left hand as far away from each other as you can. Take an inhale. As you exhale, touch the hand with the toes. Lower it back down, stretch it out, and touch. Good, we're just doing 3, so that's the third one. Now grab hold of that leg. If your butt's on the floor, maybe pick it up. Can you just bring your right foot up towards your right shoulder? And open your hips over towards the side. So we're in a kind of like Vishvamitrasana. Now, here's the next challenge. Let go of that foot. Keep your body more or less where it is. And can you bring that right leg behind your right hand to come into a little Skandasana? Super challenging, but I think you can do it. All right, bring your right hand back down where it was. We're just gonna go back again, back to where we started. So lift the hips up just enough you can pick that right leg up, bring it in front of you, maybe grab hold, open it out to the side, and then same as before, just swivel that leg around to come into your Skandasana. Take an inhale. As you exhale, just make your way into this little seated position and relax, because we're going to take a little bit of a break for the muscles. We're going to keep activating the brain. I want you to just look over at your right ankle and start doing a few little circles. And maybe even have one hand on your shin or your thigh to make sure that the circles are indeed coming from your ankle joint and not from your leg doing something, okay? And it's important to pay attention to what the toes are doing. Sometimes the toes want to get involved and want to help the movement out. But this is not about the toes, this is about the ankle. The ankles are another high payoff area. If we can mobilize the ankles, then that helps as we're taking each step of our day. It helps the signal of what's happening in the body reach the brain better. And so without sitting here for several minutes explaining how this all works, basically having better mobility in our ankle can positively influence our hip mobility. All right, you ready to move on after a few little ankle circles? Hopefully that felt nice. Bring your left hand just to the front of the mat where it would be in a downward facing dog. Reach forward to lift up onto that right foot. Now you can just bring it straight back to a downward facing dog, or if you want a little extra challenge, maybe straighten the left leg out in front of you, touch the toe with the right hand, and then swivel around into a 3-legged downward facing dog. Take an inhale and look towards your hands. Put a bend in the right knee, lift the right heel up so you can take a little hop to hop that right foot to the front of the mat. And I want you to just slowly start shifting your weight all the way into your right foot. Really press the toes down, press the ball of the foot down, lift up out of your hip joint, rise all the way up through a warrior 3, bend the left knee as you straighten your body up, pull your left knee up towards your chest, take 3 deep breaths here with the right knee as straight as possible. pulling the left knee as high towards your chest as you can. Last exhale, lower the left leg down and maybe shake out your hips. Are you ready for the other side? I'm just gonna switch directions on my mat so that I don't have my back to you as we go through this sequence. You do what you're most comfortable with. Bring your hands to your hips though, whichever direction you're facing. And again, maybe just do a few little circles. Just notice how things are feeling halfway through this sequence. And when you're ready, just come back through neutral, lift the arms up, look up, stretch up tall, take an inhale. As you exhale, fold down. Again, just notice how everything's feeling in your forward fold. Take an inhale, come up halfway. Bend your knees as much as you need to plant your hands flat and step or jump or walk back to a plank position. Squeeze your glutes, find a nice straight plank position. Pick up the left heel towards the butt, roll over onto the toes, bend into the right knee to lower your hips down. Rise up to have your torso over your hips. Take a little twist around to the left. As you go through neutral, give me a tuck of the pelvis, get into that obturator nerve just once, just real quick, and twist back around to your right, coming back through your plank position and go back to the other side. Remember, bend into the left knee as soon as your right toes touch. Rise your torso up over your hips, twist around to the right. As you go through neutral, just maybe get into that obturator nerve. You can get slouchy if that helps. Twist around to the left, coming back into your plank position. Take an inhale and press the hips gently towards the wrists, opening up the chest, keeping the glutes super active here. And as you exhale, press everything back into your downward facing dog. Step your left foot inwards a little bit so you can lift the right leg up. And remember, we've got some hip circles here. Oh, if you're like me, one side is much harder than the other, but it's all good. You know, it just gives us something to work on. If we notice these little things in our bodies that aren't quite coordinated, aren't quite easy, it's a gift, you know? It gives you something to do. It gives you something to focus on. Good. Take an inhale back through neutral. As you exhale, bring the right knee towards your chest as you bring your shoulders over your wrists. Lower the right foot down. Bring your weight into your feet to rise up into your lunge position. Bring your hands on your hips. Again, give me a few little circles. So I'm not giving you super direct guidance here in terms of like how many circles to do, what direction, because I want you to make up your mind about that for yourself, knowing that not only is each one of us different, but you're different from day to day. So when you come back and do this video another time, you might want to take your circles super small or really slowly or do them faster. All right, enough of that for now though. Keep your hands on your hips, but just come back to a neutral position. Bend into your right knee, bringing it as far forward over your toes as you can. Really keep that left glute super active. Rise back up. It's a quad workout in itself, isn't it? Take the toes out wide, and again, bend into the knee, letting the knee go out in the same direction as the toes. Keeping that left glute active, and then inwards. Little internal abduction. And you know, you are welcome to do hip circles in any position that you like. Come back through. Neutral toe is pointing forwards again. We're just gonna bring it as far forward as we can, even let the right heel come up. Just a little practice round of having our weight on our toes, but for now, left knee comes down, press it back to a kneeling position. Tuck the tailbone under. This is the femoral nerve, remember. So just right along the front of the left thigh, we're looking for a little bit of a feeling of nerve flossing. So bring the chin to the chest if you want more and roll down like a little yoga mat. And you can just kind of pulse a little bit, very gently. Remember, when we're working into the nerves, we really just want to have like about a 20 to 30% sensation. And don't worry if you don't feel anything at all. because I just want you to pay attention to what you're doing and listen to your body over me. All right, come back up. Lean it back. Keep that left glute super active. Keep that extension of the hip with the tailbone tucking under, and lean your torso back a few times. Coming back up. Maybe just play around with how far back you can go where you feel like everything is just great and wonderful. Where things start to get challenging, understanding that this shouldn't feel in any way uncomfortable on the lower back, but what we're working on is that left front region. All right, bend back into the right knee. Slowly shift your weight forward into that right toe. Pull the left heel towards your butt. Hands can be down. I've been practicing this a lot. I've been working on this a lot in my own practice. That's why I can do it now. So remember, with time, it happens. Can you just swing that leg all the way around to the front? This is super challenging. If you're challenged by this, you're normal, okay? Bring the left hand back behind you. Hips can be on the floor if you need a little break, or keep them lifted up just 3 times. Bring the left foot and the right hand together. Open back up, breathing as you go. Inhale and exhale. On the third one, grab hold of that foot. Can you slowly swing it out? Now, if you're less flexible than me, don't worry. You can have that knee bent if that feels more comfortable. Hold on to the back of your thigh if you need to. All right, just make it work for you. We're here to have fun. Now, can you let go? Keep your whole body in the same position. Just make it that left leg around the left arm into your skandasana. We're gonna do it one more time, just because it's so much fun. Lift the hips up enough that you can bring that left leg all the way forward. Hold on to it with your right hand. And all the way back again. When you get to your skandasana, it's time for a break. Sit down. Just keep a position in some position. I don't even care if you want to lie down on your back at this point. All we're going to focus on is that left ankle. So a few little circles. And I didn't say this on the right side, but if this just feels like, if you've got really great ankles and this feels really easy, then you can do like figure 8 movements. You can just go in between eversion and inversion of the foot. All right, so just play around, but notice how much your toes want to get involved. Try and keep your toes relaxed. Because there's so many little joints, so many things going on in the ankle. We've got tons of nerve endings there. And that means there's a lot of space that it takes up in your brain. So even though it's just a little part of your body all the way down there, it's actually activating a huge portion of your brain. And this can help with your balances and, like I mentioned, also your hip mobility. All right, when you're ready, we're gonna move on. So bring your right hand back to where it would be in a downward dog. Shift your weight up, hips up off the floor. Go straight into a 3-legged down dog, or for a little bonus, lift that left leg out in front of you just to get a little bit of an extra workout there. And then swivel all the way around into your 3-legged down dog. Put a little bend in the left knee, lift the left heel so you can hop off of that left foot. Look towards your hands and hop up to bring the left foot all the way to the front of the mat. Shift your weight into that left foot, off of your hands. Press down through the foot. Lift up out of the hip. Make any little adjustments that you need to make before you bring all of your weight into that leg, and then can you rise up into a warrior 3. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bend the right knee, stand all the way up, and we're just gonna hold 3 breaths with the right knee pulling as high towards our chest as we can. Keep that left knee straight though. Really, the focus is on what's happening in the left glute. It's not so much about how high you can bring the right knee. Okay, if that left leg is straight, you're gonna get a really nice workout through that left glute. All right, take one more inhale. And on your exhale, lower the leg down and give it a little shake. And, you know, that was just the warm-up, guys. Not really, but with all of that neuroflossing and the ankle and hip mobility and stuff, we have hopefully made some positive changes in our body. So even though that sequence is really challenging, we're gonna run through it again a little bit more quickly without all the neural stuff, just the fun, flowy stuff. And just notice if any of it feels any different for you, keeping in mind that maybe it feels more difficult, and that's all worth being aware of. So come to your standing position, take an inhale, look up, lift up tall, exhale, folds down into your Uttanasana. Inhale, come up halfway, and exhale, bring your feet back to your plank position. Roll over onto the outside of the left foot, bend into the left knee, lower the hips down, twist around to the right. Twist around to the left, bringing your hands back at the front of the mat. Roll back over onto the other side, lowering the left foot down, bend into the right knee, hips go down, twist around to the left. Twist around to the right, come all the way back to your plank position, squeeze the glutes. Inhale, open up to your upward facing dog. You can stay on your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot to the center, lift the left leg up, take an inhale. As you exhale, rock the shoulders forward, step the left foot to the front of the mat, rise up into your crescent lunge. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bend the left knee over the toes, lower the right knee down, press the hips back into your kneeling position, tuck the tailbone under, lean it back into a kind of one-legged camel position. You can just stay here, get your abs working, or maybe make it a little bit more relaxing, or maybe even do something beautiful. All right, come back up, bend into the left knee again, shift forward so you're on the left toes, pick up that right leg behind you, and just swing it all the way to the front. Lower the heel down, bring your right hand back behind you, lift the hips up or keep them down, extend your left arm and right leg away from each other. Lift the leg and hand to touch and open it back up. 2 more of those. Last one, hold on to the foot or the leg, whatever works. Swivel everything around to the side of the mat, bringing the right knee towards the right elbow. Let go and take it into your Skandasana. Keep your right arm where it is though. We're gonna just do that one more time. So try and keep your whole body as still as possible, just having most of that movement through the right hip. When you get to your Skandasana, you can sit down, take a little breather. You can do more ankle circles, maybe do some wrist circles. Maybe you just sit here. So the wrists are just like the ankles, high payoff areas. All right. When you're ready, left hand comes down. Shift your weight forward to bring that left leg out. Just for a quick tap, bring it back to your 3-legged down dog. Take an inhale, look forward towards your hands. Exhale, hop the right leg forward, rise up nice and smoothly into a warrior 3. And if this just feels super unstable, keep that knee bent or lower your other leg down. Have that as a little kickstand for you, okay? Make this work for you. Just pull that left knee into your chest though. Real quick, hold it till you feel a burn in your right, the outside of your right glute, and lower it down. Shake it out. Switch sides with me if you want to, or stay where you are, and we'll just run through the second side real quick. Take an inhale, look up, lift up. Stretch nice and long. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, bring your feet back to your plank. Lift the left heel up, foot to the floor, bend the knee, twist it around to the left, twist it to the right, bring your hands back down, and shimmy around to the other side, bend into the left knee, hips go down, twist around to the right, twist around to the left, back into your plank position. Inhale, squeeze your glutes to open the chest and the hips in your upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot steps to the center, right leg goes up, take an inhale. As you exhale, bring the right foot forward as you rock your shoulders over your wrists, rise up into a crescent lunge. You can have your hands on your hips like before, or have them up over your head. Bend into the right knee, lower the left knee down, Rise back up into your kneeling position. Squeeze the glutes. Bring your torso back. Make this as much as possible about the hips and the abdominals, maybe doing some work. Okay, remember you can just hold it here, maybe prop yourself up on one arm, or even make it look beautiful. Rise back up, feel it in the abs. Bend into the right knee. Keep going forward until the right heel lifts up. Get that left glute ready to do some serious action. Lift it all the way up and swivel around. Oh, I'm getting tired. I wobbled there. Lower the right heel down. Left hand comes back behind you. Remember, butt can be on the floor or lift it up with me. 3, toes to hand. 2, last one. Grab hold of something on that left leg. Swing it all the way around to the back of your mat. And try and keep your body totally still as you move into your Skandasana. One more time each way, like a little boomerang going all the way to your Vishvamitrasana variation, and then to your Skandasana. Whoa, let's let it rest out. So again, your choice what you want to do here while we just rest for a few breaths. Maybe some little ankle circles, maybe wrist circles. Maybe just you want to move around, dance around. All right, but whatever you're doing now, come back to neutral, ready to move on. Place your right hand down, hips go up, shift the weight into the left foot. Take that right leg out in front of you, and then bring it all the way up and back into a 3-legged downward facing dog. Hop off of the left foot to bring it to the front of the mat, and slowly guide your body's weight over that left foot to slowly bring yourself into a warrior 3, just as a transition. Bring the right knee up to your chest. Once you feel a burn in the left glute, lower that right leg back down. And again, shake it out. All right, good job. From here, I want you to just bend your knees and lower your hips down onto your mat. Hold your knees into your chest and roll down onto your back. And at this point, I want you to close your eyes and really hone in to how your body is feeling right now. I know that it's really nice to have somebody like me telling you what to do so you don't have to think. But ultimately, I believe this practice is about understanding ourselves in the present moment, as I've mentioned. So do please feel free to make any movements that you feel you need. Maybe you want to do a little back bend or a shoulder stand. Me, I'm going to do some twists, and you can come with me on that. I'm going to have my arms out like a cactus and just lower my knees with them bent over to the left side. And take a few breaths here. And if you're with me in this twist and you want to come with me, I'm just going to move over to the other side, bringing my knees over to the right. And I always, once everything slows down like this, I'm not thinking about a million things that's happening in all these different joints in my body, but rather I've got time to just reflect. I always like to think about just how incredible my body is. So I invite you to do the same. If you're twisted, go ahead and unravel yourself. Whatever you're doing, perhaps make your way now into a final resting position with your feet at the edges of the mat, your knees straight, your palms facing up with your arms down by your side. Maybe elongate through your neck ever so slightly. And keep your eyes closed, or close them if they're not already. And understand that even in this moment right now, your body is literally doing millions of different things as it creates new blood cells and other cells in your body and regulates all of the autonomic functions of your body that you don't have to think about. It's constantly breathing itself, circulating blood, digesting food, healing injuries, fighting invasions of bacteria or viruses. You are living in the most wonderful, miraculous vessel. So please be aware of that and appreciate it. And I invite you to stay there in your final resting position for as long as you feel you need. You definitely deserve it. That was a tough class. But like always, remember, the things that challenge us today are the things that may be easy for us tomorrow if we just keep working at it. It's all about practice, by letting the brain understand, hey, this is a thing. A little bit of neural plasticity with a little bit of neural flossing and movement with a mindful breath is the tool to do so many amazing things and fun things with your body. So again, I thank you for joining me. If you liked the neural flossing and you want to find out more, check out the workshop that I did that goes way deeper into neural flossing, how it works, why to do it, as well as a lot more nerves that you can floss. With that, I wish you the best day ever. Thanks again.